Hi, I'm Jerry Blackwill. I'm one of the Donner Party hike leaders, and I'd like to tell you a little bit about what's happening here at the top of Donner Summit. We are standing at the entrance to the longest tunnel of the Transcontinental Railroad when it was originally built. That was a little over 1,600 feet. Now 1,600 feet doesn't sound like very much now, but it was back then. It was the longest tunnel between Sacramento and Omaha, Nebraska. And so that is a clearly important part of this Donner Summit Pass. And I want to tell you a little bit more about the Donner Party hikes, but we're going to be close to it in a lot of ways. And this tunnel was actually built by the Chinese back in 1866, 1867, 1868. And it really was hand drilled and pretty much a really impressive job that they did. Now we've got a couple of other directions that we go with our hikes, where we can look down at these tunnels, or we can look up at what's called the China Wall. And if you're walking through this tunnel and go a little further, well, you come up to a big embankment that was built by the Chinese railroad workers. Those Chinese railroad workers had hand-built this wall with no mortar, and this was done over 150 years ago, and it's still almost as good as it was when they first built it. They just did a fabulous job with this. And one of our hikes walks up, and we can actually see the base of the China Wall. We can see how the various roads that went through here, where the Donner Party went through here some time ago. They were in 1846, in fact, and when the Donner Party came through here, why, of course, there was no tunnels or roads or things like that, and they actually, a number of the party members came up over Donner Pass. So this has been a major thoroughfare for more than 150 years, actually dating back to 1844, when the first party, the Stephen Townsend Murphy Party, came through and came up over Donner Summit and through Donner Pass. And then various things have happened. At a later time, there was a road called the Dutch Flat Road that had been built through here, and it was actually used as they constructed the railroads. And the Dutch Flat Road was very important because the Central Pacific Railroad, who were building this at the time, wanted to start building track from what's now the town of Truckee. And they wanted to do that even before this tunnel was completed. So they built the Dutch Flat Road. They took a number of 3 locomotives, rails, and parts for railroad flat cars over this Dutch Flat Road. This Dutch Flat Road is just to the north of us, and they took all that equipment over and then started building the railroad from the town of Truckee even before these tunnels were completed. And that was one of the very important things. And then later on, there's so many things that have come through here. There are the Lincoln Highway was one of the roads that came through here. The first really transcontinental highway that came through, and it was not so much a designed highway as a highway that said, okay, if you follow these signs and you start off in San Francisco, you'll end up in Times Square, and that goes right over the top of Donner Pass. And then other things that happened here was finally Highway 40, which was a big innovation. That was a paved highway, and they built that, and they built some things like the Rainbow Bridge that you'll see when you come up here with the Donner Party hikes. And then as technology improved, many other things occurred on this Donner Summit. One was major airplane beacons. So the airplanes would actually fly up over here. Back in those days, airplanes couldn't get very high. And here we're at a little over 7,000 feet at Donner Pass. And so these airplanes couldn't go much higher than this. So this is the way they went through the Sierras. and that was a major element. And then later on, there were pipelines that went through here. There was even a secret telephone line that went through here during World War II that was went from Washington, D.C. to San Francisco to give a warning to Washington, D.C. if the Japanese happened to be invading the San Francisco Bay Area. Luckily enough, that never happened. Now there's major fiber optic lines that go through here. There's a pipeline that goes through here to supply fuel both for the Reno airport as well as for other airports that are further east of us. So there's some really great history here, going back a long ways, and that's part of what we do as leaders of the Donner Party Hike, is to tell you that history and really give you the feeling when you're right here and you say, oh my gosh, that's what happened back then. And you begin to get a really nice feeling. I think you're really going to enjoy these Donner Party hikes on September 14th. And they are a lot of fun. There are a whole selection of hikes. And if you'd like to get more information, go to DonnerPartyHikes.com.